Welcome to Tea Time with Kitty. Giving everyone welcome. I did see the system just froze for a second, but it looks like we're back. Welcome, giving everyone a second to get all logged on so that we can get started with today's topic. Let's see. Welcome. Hey sis, how are you? Welcome. Shamika told me she's seeing you too. Um, hey, baby. Hey, Shamika. So we're about to get started. Let's see the highlight of today. The highlight of today for Wednesday, 8/17, is that Nala started pre-K today. Um, yes, okay, I sure will. Yes, Nala started pre-K today. That was the highlight of my day today. Seeing her in that purple, seeing her in that classroom. She was a little shy because it was so many big people. She's been to two daycares so far. I see that it's freezing up. So now you definitely make sure you're not on the Wi-Fi with me. Because a lot of times when all of them join on with me, they can use their cellular data. They freeze me up. So hopefully it'll stop freezing. So Sanaya, if you are on, or Shamika, is normally the two of them. If you could just switch back to your cellular data for a few minutes until we're done, and then you can come back in. We celebrate a lot of August birthdays. Christian celebrated his birthday on Monday. And my dad had already said had celebrated his on last Wednesday. Today's topic is talking about are you paranoid, or are you just on you're on a high alert, right? So that's what the topic is talking about, and we're going to talk about it from two different standpoints. Like, say if you're the type of person, right? Yeah, they do real fast. Say you're the type of person, and some people will say that you're paranoid. You're not going to go to sleep with your door not locked. When you're riding, you're going to make sure that your car door is locked. Hey Sherelle, hey niece. You're just that type of person where you have to make sure you're safe and secure. Are you paranoid for feeling that way? What is your thoughts? Because right now we're trying to figure out if you are being paranoid, or just is it what could happen, or will happen, right? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at what's going on in everyday society, right? And does it make you paranoid, or is it a bad thing to be paranoid? We're also going to be looking at it as it relates to trust when we get into the second part. You know how when it says trust people, and people tell you to trust, sometimes if you're not trusting, you may be being insecure. But how does that look, right? Because we all seen situations from men and women, family and friends, where your trust has been tested, right? So we're going to look at it from two different angles. So first, we want to know, what do you feel about that? Okay, nope, anything can happen. We see the unthinkable happen. Right. We see the unthinkable all the time happen. So let's say that I am your girlfriend. So I am the male in this relationship, right? And my girlfriend, let's switch the role a little bit, right? So I am the boyfriend in this situation, and my girlfriend is constantly being an overthinker. Like, hey, talk to me on the phone while I walk through this garage. It's dark outside. If you are one of those persons, have people made you feel to believe that you are paranoid about things, like you're worried too much? Has anyone ever made you? And a lot of times we try to flip it around a little bit, but a lot of times men are a little bit more macho. They tend to not be as scary as we are, or at least won't show that they're as scary as we are, right? So from some of the males that's on the line, I want to hear from you all. Woman, if a woman is, the windows got to be shut, the door got to be locked. With me, I use door guards, right? Even if it was on the garage door, using door guards, right? So do you feel like someone is being an overthinker? Are they being paranoid, or are they, like Nick said, they are just, thinking adequate to what is going on in today's society? We see today's society. We see how people are constantly being carjacked. We see how houses are being broken into. What is your thought process as it relates to that? Society has made me that way. That's exactly where I'm going at. Society makes us that way, so it is not a bad thing hearing things on the news or other people's stories. And I'm telling you, I started watching the news, I'm thinking maybe 10 years ago. I actually started watching the news. My mom watches it all the time. Like, she can watch because it froze again. I don't know why this. Dayon says it's my computer, but she just bought me this one for Christmas, so I don't know why she would say it's this computer, and I hardly use it for anything else, right? But definitely, start watching the news about 10 years ago for this reason. That all you see is crime is hardly ever any good news. So I would like to say that society has made us that way. So when someone have you feeling like, you're just being paranoid, we definitely have to say, hey, according to the daytimes and today's society and everything that's going on, it's sufficient, right, not insufficient, it's sufficient for me to think this way and feel this way. That's so me with everything going on. I'd rather be prepared. Definitely rather be prepared, right? So that means that if you're going to come in my house and get me, sis, it's very important that you're gonna have to do some work. Like, you ain't gonna be down south 20 years ago where you could just open my door and my door is open and come on in and you have to do some work, right? So after you get through the locks on the door, you have to get through the door guards, you're gonna have to get through the alarm system, through the pet. Like, you're gonna have to put in some work before you can actually get inside and get to me. So that's very important. So I want us to make sure we're embracing that. You never know what can happen. You definitely have to stay prepared. Definitely needs. And I want to make sure that we are aware of that, because people have tendencies of making us feel certain types of way because of our thought process. Like, I am truly an overthinker, right? Truly an overthinker. And I think I have shared to you all on several occasions my issue surrounding trust, right? So to most people, it would look like, hey, you have to trust somebody. A friend of mine, Rashonda, gave me a really good book on trust. It even talks about you have to trust in order to get on the airplane, because you don't, most of the time don't see the pilot. All those good things, been there before, heard that before, definitely understands that, right? But then at the same time, I was raised with males, like I was raised with brothers. My mom was raised with pretty much all brothers. So you take on their friends, and I would like to say, until I got into my adulthood, it really especially engaged with my sister circle is when I became more of a female type person. But before then, I was the girl that was the tomboy playing kickball, butt on the pole, whatever. Football, you name it, we was doing it with a little ponytail in my hair. So I converted over once I was a young woman, because I didn't come from a feminine family, right? Let's see. My boyfriend doesn't make me feel like I'm overreacting. Excellent. Okay. He actually more on it than me. Okay. That's really great. He constantly checks our camera when I'm home alone and taught me how to use the weapons in our home. Outstanding, right? So we don't want to react. We want to be proactive. Like, we want to be advanced, because they're constantly thinking of things that they can do and ways that they can do it. So we have to be on the same page, if not a step ahead of them. So that's very good information. People are desperate and in need, but don't want to work and take what's it. They are definitely in need, right? So we this week I've spent more time in a service center this week than I did in probably 3 years, right? So my original station would have been the Fort Davis Service Center, but once I got promoted into my current position, the service center was already closed. So I was working out of 64 initially, and then I started helping out with the service centers. But we have been working, myself along with my manager and the other manager, section chief, has had to do something that I never did before, right? So in the group homes, kind of got involved with like the building and the way things are structured. But this is, was really at a different level, right? So you had to go in there in your sweatsuit, and you had to get down in it, right? So, this was outside of the cute little stuff that goes with the title, right? Let the system catch up. Let's see. Okay, the cute little stuff that goes with the title, right? So we actually been working, like, for the past few nights. I have slept good. We've been working, but I learned a lot from the building services, and in the information, and how you kind of like manage the building on that level where you're actually engaged with it, and met different people. with what is it, GSA, I think it is, DGS, that's what it is, DGS. So learned a lot of new things. But when we were leaving, we left on Monday from there about 2 o'clock. And as we're leaving, someone is getting robbed at the Exxon gas station, right next to, kind of, I guess you can say it's kind of like next to or adjacent to my job. And again, this is 2 o'clock p.m., right? And that's kind of like the middle of the day. So that's why I'm always telling people to make sure you check your surroundings, because our service center is not open, and I shared it with staff as well. The population that went on in that area is not as high once our building went under construction, as well as two other businesses in that little cul-de-sac has actually relocated, right? So that's why it's very, very important to check your surroundings. And that's why I'm constantly reminded, because people, the same way you have a job, whether you work for DC government, if you're with Aussie, if you're with a law firm, if you're with an accountant, the same way we all have jobs and have professions. Sometimes that's people job and profession just to watch you and look for an opportunity to take advantage of it, right? So be very mindful of that. So because of time, we're going to get ready to move away from the heightened alert as it comes to your home, or just being paranoid, making sure everything's locked up, not going out at night. Now we're going to move over to trust, and trust plays a part of that. I know that a lot of women, most men will say women have a lot of trust issues, where actually I feel like men have trust issues as well. I just think that women, being a little bit more emotional beings, we tend to express it a little bit more. So I just definitely want to hear from some males on the line, as it relates to trust, right? And how do you have a healthy relationship if you can't establish trust, right? So one thing that I came up with, and one thing I want you all to take from this, it's very important for the person that you're with, the person that you love, and the person that loves you, is to give you that type of space where you can be vulnerable, right? Give you that type of space where you can share, your what your issues are, because a lot of times, although they're issues, a lot of times they're valid, So it may have been a situation where you've seen men, from interacting with your male cousins, your male brothers, you've seen men do just about anything, or it could have been in your own relationship, right? And you've seen men as well as women, because I'm gonna tell you, I did not know women was as loose as they are till about 10 years ago. Like, women have secret lives. They're no different than men, right? And I always thought, was raised that it was men who had different lives, and when it's all over the place. But you got women that has kind of learned and adapted that relationship, that behavior from men, and thinking that that's how they're supposed to do things, right? And that's why so many relationships are unstable, and as well as don't last, right? But I think that you should be honest, because your feelings about a situation come from somewhere. So if trust is your issue, you don't need someone telling you that, hey, you're insecure, you need to learn how to trust. No, trust, when you don't trust, it's a learned behavior over time, as well as when you do trust, right? So that's how our kids learn to trust us, is from being babies. If I cry, and I'm going to get a bottle. If I cry a little bit, they're going to check me and they're going to change me, right? So trust is built over time, as well as trust is destroyed over time, right? So I think that it's very important that we're mindful of whatever someone brings to the table, we have to love them and love on it, right? So stay away from, if you're a man or a woman, just saying that someone is being jealous, or someone is being insecure, or someone just doesn't trust, because there's a process with trust, right? There's a process with anything, right? And we need to be more open and honest, because next week we're going to really dig into relationships, well, who we are, what we expect, and what we can take. Because a lot of times, we'll meet someone, we'll like them, and we think that that's just enough. But we have to also be honest, because what someone else can endure in their relationship, someone else may not be. You may look back and say, hey, well, this relationship had X, Y, and Z, and it's still standing, and someone else's relationship may have hit one little bump and it's no longer standing, right? So I think that it's very important that we look at that when we're dealing with relationships, just as well as we're talking about, someone not saying you're scared or fearful. You don't want someone saying, hey, you need to learn to trust me, right? So when we talk about trust, and someone says to you, I need you to trust me, I need to hear from you all. What do you feel like someone should show you in order for you to trust them, right? What are some things that someone should show you in order? Because, like I said, trust takes time, whether to build it or to destroy it takes time. So, what are some things that you're looking for in someone in order to trust them? What would be your what would be the thing that you're looking for when it comes to trust? Something that you're looking for when it comes to trust. And as well as something that you're looking for that could build your trust up, it could also be something that someone can do to make you not trust, right? So it could be in either. I'm sorry, either direction. I just really need to hear from you as it relates to that. Complete honesty, right? So when you talk about someone being honest, right? How does that make you feel if they're not being honest? Or sometimes you don't know, really if they're being honest or not. So what does it look like, if they're not being honest, right? Consistency, right? I think that's the one thing, Nick, that's the one thing that is a red flag for me when you're being inconsistent, right? One thing that's a really bad flag for me with trust is being inconsistent as well as being agitated, right? So if you're asking somebody these things, like even if they feel like, hey, I'm not doing anything, I'm not X, Y, and Z, and you feel like you're not doing these things, so why are you getting frustrated? And I get that you don't want nobody to keep saying this over and over again, and not believing you or trusting you. But if that's a space that someone's in and they need help with that space, then I think that if you care enough about that person, you're going to walk through whatever process that is with them, right? Trust is earned, consistency, honest, even if it hurts my feelings. So, like I like that. Even if it may hurt my feelings, right? Even if it truly may hurt my feelings, but be honest with me. Like, let me have an opportunity to choose what I'm willing to deal with. And I think that that's so important. So important. Is there anything else? Like, what are some things that make you don't trust? Like, what are some things that make you be like, no, no, no. What are some red flags? And it helps people that may be coming into new relationships or in a new relationship, right? It helps them to kind of prepare, like, what are some red flags that you've seen in relationships, and it doesn't have to be your own relationship, it can be others relationships, that makes you feel like you can't trust a person, like a person that worked night shifts and never get an off day, right? Night shifts and never get off, being sneaky, right. Why are you so sneaky at this age? You gotta put your phone face down, and what is that about, right? Because if you're going to share and be open and honest, hey, you can pick my phone up and answer it. Like, I don't have anything going on. And even when I had seasons where I would date more than one person, it was dating. But I've never been one to be like a cheater, because that's something totally different. If you're not in a relationship, I feel like people do have the opportunity, as long as they let others know that that they're dating other people. I definitely get an understanding of that, because you do have a right to choose, and nobody should be able to pressure you or tell you when to choose or how you should choose, right? Um, Anything else? What are some other things that make you automatically don't trust someone? Make sure, women and men. I have found that people will not necessarily tell you they're married, man or woman, not just putting that on men. Men or women will not necessarily tell you they are married. Sometimes you have to actually ask them that. You have to definitely. So if you're someone that's going to be dating soon, you need to ask them what type of arrangement that they have going on. And I know, with me, as talkative as I am, in the beginning of relationships, when I really get to know people, in the past, I wasn't demanding. Like, I really didn't tell people what I felt or what I think. I just kind of like went along with whatever free meal or free trip or outing kind of with. But now I am very opinionated, because in the beginning is when you have a chance to look at these things. And if someone is, you feel like someone has been extremely sneaky, and that you can't trust them, or it's really making you feel uneasy, then you want to redirect how you deal with that person, right? Definitely redirect how you deal with that person. What about guts in your feeling? How do you all feel about guts in your, feeling a certain kind of way about a situation? Do you feel like women? I never really heard them say it about men, and you all can help me out with that as well. women's intuition, like when you can, they say, well, you can almost feel like something is not right with a situation. Have anybody ever felt that? And do you really feel like that's women intuition? And do men get it? Like I definitely would want to know, do men get that as well? That really tells you that, hey, this person, nah, something's not right with that. Do anyone get those feelings? Do we feel like that's a woman intuition that's telling you that it's time to run? Or do you think that that's just like a rumor that has been passed down? Like I definitely definitely would say that I am one that feel like I get those feelings when something's not right. Um, and I think that the thing that I'm learning now is not to run from everything because of my trust issues. As soon as you display things that ain't add up to me, I wouldn't get the calculator out. I would just get out of there, right? But as I'm getting older, I know that it's healthy to learn to work through things. So it's good to learn to talk about things, right? And to share information, to get an understanding. Like even if you feel like it's someone that you're dating and you feel like they may be cheating, right? Then to talk about that, have that as a conversation so that you can get feedback from them. Because sometimes if they know that they're kind of back off from it a little bit. So then they have a choice to say, hey, I'm going to keep doing this and end it with this person, or I'm going to change my ways to make this situation that I like right here work, right? I do something like that. If my gut's telling me to say something to somebody, I'm going to say it, but in a respectful way. Okay, okay. Don't ever ignore your gut feeling. Don't ignore your gut feelings because I don't know where the true gut came from. I don't know if it's a old saying. I don't know if it's a Holy Spirit. I don't know if it's your universe connection. But a lot of time, or most of the time, your gut feelings are correct, and it doesn't even have to be a gut feeling as it relates to relationship. I've heard um I know my guy says all the time that he's had gut feelings when it came to situations that he knew that he shouldn't have interacted with, or situations he shouldn't have got in, whether it was legal or being in a neighborhood or whatever the case may be. So it doesn't have to just be in the relationship part of it. It could just be, do I want to go in a 7-Eleven? And right when I say I'm not going to go and I didn't go, I heard later it was robbed. So I think that, and some people also say it's discernment. So it can be a lot of different things, and that's why I think it's so important to stop and listen to yourself. Sometimes stop and listen to yourself and not be moving around as much. If anybody else have anything else, you can chime in. We have about 5 minutes left. You can always go back and comment about being paranoid or on high alert about a situation. But I know that this past week. So last week I told you all that the week before that was really trying week. The week after that, I took a mental vacation, right? I took a mental vacation and I came off of it on Monday the 15th. So in spite of me going into my roller coaster of events, I just took a mental break. And when I say that mental health break was everything. It was times where I would see the phone ringing and I did want to just pick it up anyway, but I stuck to it and I didn't. But the mental health break was everything, right? I had probably two visits from two of my sisters outside of my household that visit, and that was pretty much it. So working in this field, you get a lot of people that want to call and ask a question, and like with me, I'm big on quality assurance. I take that role on proudly when dealing with my service center or anything else that I can help with DHS. I want to make sure that if you did something that someone's calling you back, that someone's following up, the worker reaching out to you. So I'm big on making sure those types of things are done. So believe it or not, you'll get a lot of phone calls when you help people, right? So just not having to pick that phone up, I didn't allow anybody's garbage to be dumped on me. And it doesn't mean that garbage is necessarily a bad thing, right? Because sometimes we throw away things and say it's garbage because we just don't want it anymore. So not to downplay any one situation, but it's very, very, very important that you sometimes take mental health breaks, right? So that you can regroup and you can be healthy for yourself, first and foremost, that you can be happy for those that you're responsible for, because being responsible for someone is different than just being there for family, right? So if if your uncle needs $20, and you may want to be there for him, it's not the same if you need this $20 to feed those that you are actually responsible for, right? So after you take care of yourself, you need to take care of those who you're responsible for. Then I like to say that you have to take care of those you want to take care of, and that would be my granddaughters. Even though I'm not responsible for them, but they're who I want to take care of, right? And then you go on to your family, your friends, your church, and your community, and you kind of roll all that in. But don't lose focus on the fact that the most important person to take care of is yourself. You're not. There's no way possible you'll know if anyone else can take care of you the way that you truly may need to be taken care of. And I have never did a mental health vacation, right? And I actually said that I want to do a mental health trip. Like, I'm not one that has really traveled by myself, not even to the movies or to a restaurant. And I know that a lot of people do it. I know my sister Kern used to talk about doing stuff like that. So spend some time with yourself. And sometimes it's just not a season to hear everyone's problem. You have to be able to sow and reap. So you have to be able to have something to, you have to be able to take good things in to be able to put good things out, right? Because if you're not taking good things in, you won't be able to put good healthy things out, and you won't be able to help anyone, right? So I know with trust, paranoia, anything, I think communication is key. Letting somebody know where you are, letting somebody know where you're going, and just learning to coexist with people. And I know people that work jobs and that's not able to coexist have a lot of problems. Children that haven't figured out how to coexist in school have a lot of problems. And you definitely have a lot of problems in your family or in your community when you fail to be able to coexist with one another, right? So we're going to get ready to wrap it up. Know that your feelings, your emotions, even if they're wrong, even if they're a misread, they are important, right? And you will only help that those who love and care about you and want to remain connected with you will have a sense of understanding for your feelings. So yeah, it may seem far-fetched, or when someone should do something and how things should turn around, but everybody do things at their own pace, right? So just make sure that we're truly being mindful of that, and that we care enough about one another to take care of them, even as it comes to someone mental health, right? Um, are you telling me the Wi-Fi is messing up? Okay, well, we're wrapping up anyway, right? And just make sure y'all stay off the cellular data for tea time because it's pulling so much. And thank you all so much for joining me and sipping with a sister. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Take care.